Well, first of all, I have 3,000 hours of experience in law enforcement, and I support our law enforcement community, but I also understand there are problems in law enforcement. We need a massive community-style policing package in our legislature to make sure we can reform law enforcement. And I would consider exactly what you've just asked me. Crime, Proposition 4757, we've got problems. We need to enforce the law. We don't need to defund the police. We need to properly fund the police, not overfund the police. And that's what I stand for. Now, I'd like to respond to the claim of experience. I have 11 years working in real estate, and my experience doesn't include ripping off my city. It also doesn't include a disdain for transparency or such a disdain for California that you prefer to invest in real estate outside of California. All of the properties I own are in California. I respect the experience I have in real estate here. The reality is, I am a JFK-style Democrat who can work with our Democratic legislature. A vote for any Republican, including the ones who are not here, is a wasted vote. And whether you are yes or no on recall, you should vote for Kevin Paffrath and see my full plan at meetkevin.com.
Okay, thank you. Kevin Kiley, would you sign a police decertification bill?
Well, I will answer that question, Alexi. Let me just say first that, I believe there is room for criminal justice reform and police reform where appropriate. I authored a bill that brought together the ACLU and law enforcement to provide transparency for grand jury proceedings in officer-involved shooting cases. And for example, in the Breonna Taylor case, after there was the decision not to move forward there, the family wanted to see the transcript. If that had taken place in California, they could have because of my bill. Now, with respect to the specific bill that you're talking about, I think that everyone agrees there needs to be a fair process, but I can't just commit to whatever the bill may be at this point in time. In my years in the legislature, I've spent 5 years in the legislature. I can tell you that these things are a sort of a moving target a lot of times as they wend their way through the legislature. But the larger issue is this, that we have had a policy towards our law enforcement in California that has been incredibly disrespectful. I mean, the slogan defund the police is one of the most offensive political slogans ever concocted. And I think that at the end of the day, we need to restore the reverence and respect for law enforcement that they deserve, and also put public safety first in our communities again at a time when crime rates are rising.
Okay, thank you very much. John Cox, would you sign a police decertification bill?
We need to get the politics out of this. We need to make sure that we have the most professional law enforcement force that we can muster. And that means we need to get the politicians out of the picture. We need to make sure, certainly, that we have a transparent process that weeds out people that abuse their badge. That's a very rare occurrence, by the way. And I think it stains a lot of the people that already serve. I mean, my law partner has a son in the police, and he says he doesn't understand how his son continues to serve because of all the abuse that they're getting. The politics gets into this, and we don't have the leadership that stands up and defends the police. 99.9% of whom do a good job. They deserve our respect. We certainly have to have body cameras and make sure that we go after police who abuse their power, but that is such a rare occurrence. I agree, defund the police is not the way that we should go. We need to get rid of 47 and 57. We need to enforce the law, make sure that crime is punished. That's the first role of government.
So this question was about a process to strip law enforcement officers of their badges when they break the law. So just to be clear, do you support that concept or not?
I certainly think that a police officer who is found in a professional hearing that's not politicized, found to have committed a crime or abused his power, certainly should be stripped. I don't believe it should be run from the state down. I don't believe in top-down policies.
So that's a no on a statewide process. Okay, thank you. Kevin Faulconer, same question.
I stood up during a very difficult time in our city. I had hundreds of protesters out in front of my house yelling at me, my family, defund the police. I stood up and said no. I hired the first female police chief in the history of San Diego. We were selected as the nation's safest big city in America. Why? Because I understand that balance and what you have to do to protect your city and actually bring people together in a safe way. It takes character and judgment. I'm going to take this opportunity because one of the people that is not here tonight, Larry Elder, does not have the character, the judgment, the skill set, or the experience to be governor. And I've been very outspoken this week, and I'm going to take one more opportunity to do so. His attack on working women is unconscionable. To all of the working moms out there, know that with Kevin Faulconer as your governor, I'm going to support your right to raise a family, to have a career. Unlike what Larry Elder is talking about, I'm going to make sure that California's daughters have the same opportunities as California's sons. We need a governor that's going to stand up for working women and knows that every woman in this state can have a career, can raise a family. And to all the working moms out there right now, I want to say one thing. Thank you. Thank you for what you're doing. We value you. We can't wait to work with you as governor.
Is there a specific policy promoting gender equality that you would try to pursue as governor?
It is, and we talk a lot about the opportunity for equal pay. That's incredibly important. I promoted some women into the top management positions in our city as I was mayor. I understand how important that is.
What about as governor rather than looking
Yes,
back
exactly.
on your time
Equal
as mayor?
pay, it's going to be a strong point. I'll be talking more about that later this week, as a matter of fact.